What up boys, and welcome back to a day in the life of Bailey OP. Today, you can see we're in a little bit of a different setup. Here is an editing file that I've been working on for not too long, maybe about an hour, but I'd like to show you another folder. That's this folder here. This folder here is very essentially all of the stuff I have for this video that I'm making, and you may be able to see a special thematic card here is the Executioner, because today I've spent my entire day, which I don't know is a few hours, working on a video about the Executioner. Now, that's all, you know, ignoring my new Pokemon type chart, that's all well and good, until Clash Royale go, you know what, we're going to change the Executioner as you're editing this video. Do they know what I'm doing? Do Supercell hate me? This happened with another video I did recently as well, where it was, I can't remember which card it was, but I did a video on some card and then they went and nerfed it or they buffed it and it was like, the video is now just deemed entirely irrelevant. This video here that I just showed you was essentially going through the Executioner, you know, the buffs to the Executioner, the extra buff to the Executioner, the usage rates to the Executioner and stuff like that. But now, none of it matters. I'm still going to make the video because I can probably finish it before tomorrow and put it up before this comes into place. I don't actually know when this is coming into place yet because I haven't read it. But essentially all I've seen on Twitter is Executioner and Witch are being changed. So my video means nothing. My video might as well be deleted. Obviously I'm joking, the video has other parts in it that don't just speak about the Executioner's current state, but yeah, let's, I thought I'd make a quick video, you know, just going through this, because it seems important, and it's something I put up tonight, opposed to tomorrow, which will be, hopefully, this other video. Anyway, all I want to really go on to is what they're changing with the card. We'll go through, not this, we'll go through this one. Oh, this is really zoomed in for some reason. We shall go through this as well, because it's a little bit easier, but I want to read what they've basically said about these cards. So Executioner, his HP's going up a little bit. I think that's just a revert of what they did before. I'm not sure it actually changed anything. Its damage is being essentially halved. I think it was essentially doubled before, so I think it's just being reverted. Hit speed, I also think is just reverted. And range might also be reverted. I don't know the exact range. And projectile radius, again, I don't know the exact ones in this. So I'm pretty sure it's just going back to the exact old Executioner, which they might explain in the blog post here. Hit points, hit speed, yeah, we've just gone through that. Ultimately, we have come to realize that whilst our heart was in the right place, our heart was in the right place. Okay, no plural. This rework was fundamentally flawed. I would agree. I think you want the Exie to be less dependent on Tornado than more dependent on Tornado, but yes. Area damage and splash attackers provide a mechanical crutch for players to handle swarms, whereas great timing and placement allow for non-area attackers to pull off amazing defensive tricks. Think of all the things a Musketeer and Ice Spirit can defend. If area attackers like Executioner are statistically the same, or even better, than other more high-skilled cards, it lowers the skill cap of the game overall, making these defensive plays just a feature of a card that is otherwise viable on a multitude of 1v1 situations. Okay, I'm a little bit confused as to why there's zero mention of Tornado in here. I think Executioner as a card by itself is like fine. If we do actually go through this bit of the video, this part of the video here, which I'm not going to play, I'll just run through on the preview, which you can't really see, but you can see there's a lot of Exenado decks, right? My point was, like, over 90% of decks that have Executioner in are also running Tornado. So when you make a post like this and you're like, you know what, we're going to change the Executioner because it's not where we want it, I think you have to reference Tornado. I don't think you can't. I think it's such, you know, they're sort of intertwined in how you buff them. Like, it's almost as if, you know, it's almost like Musketeer and Three Musketeers, how they are literally literally the same. If you buff one, the other one gets buffed. That applies to Exenado as well. If you nerf Nado, Exie gets nerfed. If you nerf Exie, Nado gets nerfed. Those two cards are interlinked like that. And I think it's sort of impossible to change the Executioner without referencing that. And I think that's maybe where they could have gone wrong with this Exie change, is that they didn't at all at any point reference Tornado, and I have a big problem with that because they need the combination to be balanced before both of these cards can be balanced. Because it's alright having Executioner, it feels fine in one-on-one situations, but when you add Tornado, it's always going to feel infinitely stronger, and it's balancing that combination more than the two cards individually, I feel is important. Obviously, you know, what do I know? I'm some guy with messy hair wearing two jumpers in a bedroom. I'm not a games developer, but in my opinion, that seems pretty important. Alright, let's go look at what happened to Witch. Area damage radius is going to 1, so it doesn't have a radius at the moment, so now it's 1 tile. Is that pretty big? Is that in tiles? Because if that's in tiles, That seems huge. That's a radius, right? Which means from the edge of her circle to the center is 1 tile, which means across the entire circle is 2 tiles. That seems pretty big. Damage is being halved and hit speed is going up. Values not yet finalized. Okay. Well, this seems like a pretty big buff because of that splash damage. A 1 tile radius seems really big. I don't really know. I don't like this. It now focuses the witch more on the skeletons than the witch herself, which is the problem we solved and was a positive thing to have solved. Like, the witch currently is better than the witch before. I made videos defending this because I'm like, overall, it's less toxic. It's stronger, but it's less toxic. And now they've gone, actually, we didn't like what we did before, so we're going to have the witch more dependent on skeletons again. I think it's bad, personally. The community reacted very strongly to witch losing her area damage radius over the past month, and rightly so. After listening to passionate arguments from the community, we want to say you're all correct. We should not fundamentally change the function of cards. Oh, I disagree with this so much. I have no words. Some witch users on ladder rely on the crutch of splash damage, as you said here yourself. Area damage and splash attackers provide a mechanical crutch for players to handle swarms, and you reference some here that it's lower skill cap. Yes. So, what you've just said there, you continue to go on to say that the people on ladder who use witch who are notoriously not too great at the game because witch isn't a great card and they think it's a great card because it does splash, you listen to those people who complain about it losing splash because that's their crutch gone. You labelled it a crutch yourself. You labelled it lower skill cap yourself. These aren't my words. I'm linking your first points and your second points, and you've listened to the players who aren't too great at the game. Instead of letting them adjust and learn and get better at the game, you've gone, actually, we'll accommodate you. You don't have to learn anything. Here is your favourite card back. We might even make it stronger. Haven't really looked at stats myself personally too in depth. But we might make it stronger for you so you can have more success in the game, be happier, and keep giving us money. Is it unfair to link everything to money? Yes. Am I doing it anyway? Yes. But in my opinion, that's all it screams to me, because they've basically gone, actually, we shouldn't fundamentally change the function of a card that's used by a load of bad players because those are the majority of the player base, and that's a lot of our money gone, and if people are quitting because their favourite card has been changed, even though it's healthy for the game, we're losing players, we're losing money, and that is bad. In my opinion, no, none of this, no. If you spent time and effort to level up your witch as a primary area damage dealer, it is not fair to have that change overnight. Because of this, witch is receiving her area damage back with a more familiar damage and hit speed. Here is my point, right? You're saying people put it in their deck for splash. Not every deck runs splash. Decks are perfectly fine without splash. There are plenty of decks in the top metagame that run 0 splash. You know why? Because they run spells. And you know why they run spells? Because they're higher risk, higher reward. And you know why noobs don't run that many spells and they prefer stuff like Wizard and Witch is because they're lower risk, lower reward. And that only applies when they're overleveled, right? When they're in tournament standards, they're not that such. But when you have, you know, a max Witch and it's doing splash damage, it's much lower risk to put on the board than a spell because you know it's going to interact with all of these, you know, whatever swarms are coming in and just one-shot them because it's over-leveled. What she's really missing currently is area damage and a faster hit speeds that Witch users have come to rely on. They've essentially, you know, from the first Witch to the Witch now in this post, they've made the skeletons worse and they made the damage better. That is about all. Overall, I agree with that, but this, the bit in bold, we should not fundamentally change the function of cards. No. It is fundamentally wrong. When you have cards like Heal and Raw Recruits and all stuff like this in the game that are toxic for the game, if they were good, we've seen it happen, you know, time and time again. A toxic card makes the game unfun, makes a load of people quit, makes just the game in general not an enjoyable experience. Why can you not fundamentally change the function of those cards just because some people use them? There are so many cards in this game that need reworks. And not buffs, not nerfs, they need reworks. They can't stay as they currently are because they're either never going to be good or they're just going to ruin the game for everyone playing it. We owe you an apology. This is a situation where we can definitely say as a dev team we made a mistake. We really regret pushing the execution and witch rework so early. We had a variety of low usage cards that could use a fundamental rework. So what's happening with them? You're saying that you're not going to change fundamentals, but you're mentioning cards that you have ideas for fundamental reworks. Are you just scrapping all of those now, or the future reworks? We have reworked numerous cards over the past 2 years, including Spear Gobs, positive, Royal Giant, positive, Barbarians, positive, Freeze, overall positive, Cannon Cart, positive, Barbarian Barrel, positive. Look, You've messed up 2 reworks. People are naturally going to complain about it, but you've gotten, what's there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 correct, and have made the game a healthier place. Why would you ever stop doing fundamental reworks when you've nailed 6? They've gone so well, they are now, you know, some of them are meta cards, some of them had time in the meta. Just because you've messed up 1, maybe 2. I don't get it. We don't always get it right at first, but we believe with iteration we can get the least used cards in Clash Royale to a halfway place. Yes, many of our planned reworks were for cards like Bomber, Bowler, Wizard, and other area damage attackers. We have decided to halt these reworks as we were not certain the game would improve, even if those cards were statistically balanced. We have shifted our focus towards providing more utility to underplayed cards instead of making well-rounded cards competitively viable. We have solutions that feel very good for cards like Arrows, Positive, Heal, Positive, that you'll see over the next few months. Aside from those two, we'll be far more judicious and question our assumptions about the outcome of reworking other cards in Clash Royale. Okay, I had my little rant, I'm over it now, I read the whole post, and they've essentially said, yeah, we will do more reworks, but it does still concern me how they put this in bold and are like, oh, we're not going to do this ever again. Maybe, what I hope is that it's just a crowd pleaser, that they're putting it there because people who were mad about their witch being, you know, changed so much will go, okay, they're going to stop this, they've learnt. And I hope that's all it is. I hope this isn't anything more than that. I feel like these cards that they mention here and other area damage attackers do still need reworks, and they could most definitely still use them. And hopefully in the coming months we can see maybe Bowler, Bomber, Wizard, and other area damage dealers become viable with reworks, because Splash is a big issue in this game with the whole concept of spells. Like, Splash versus spells is something it's sort of like a breakthrough point when you play the game. You play the game so far and you're like, oh, the Splash attack is really good. You hit a point and you realize, oh, spells are so much better, and then you use more spells and you do splash attackers. So in my opinion, it's definitely a skill cap thing, and I've been here for 16 minutes on the dot right now. That's a lot of talking. I didn't mean to do that. Maybe I shouldn't have started this off by complaining about my video, but yeah, sorry about like the lack of editing in this. I just wanted to get this out quickly because I saw a Twitter notification on my phone. I was like, I want to read this post, and I was like, actually, I can record this post, make a video out of it, and now I'm capitalizing. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down below on all of the stuff we discussed in here. I sort of picked out some of the bits that felt more interesting than doing the whole post, and yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this type of video. If you did, leave a like and all that stuff, subscribe. I'm just doing the generic YouTube stuff. But yeah, apart from that, peace.